Hello Discovery Office System Technicians. Today I'm going to show you a cool trick where you can use your new Droid2 phone to update firmware on the newer Kyocera devices that have USB interface. A couple of things you're going to need. First of all, your phone. And you're going to have to download a little app called AndroZip. To do that, you just go into your market, which is that green suitcase. You hit the search icon at the top right, and you type in AndroZip, AndroZip. You go ahead and type that in, and hit go. That's going to bring up a few different options. The first one is AndroZip File Manager. That is a free app. The second one, AndroZip Pro, that one costs money. You want the free one, which is the top one. Click that, and then you're going to hit Install. Mine's already installed, so it doesn't give me that option, but you just hit install, and then it'll go ahead and install that to your phone. Once that's on your phone, you will notice it created a little icon called AndroZip. That's the app we're going to use to unzip firmware files to your SD card on your phone. Now, how do we get the firmware files on the phone? Well, there's two ways to do that. First of all, you can use the browser of the phone directly, and we're going to go to the Discovery Office Systems website. Todd created a link, discoveryofficesystems.com/firmware, and it brings up all the latest firmwares for all the latest models, and you can just click it directly and it'll download. So I saved this in the favorites so that I don't have to type it in every time. So I just go to favorites, Kyocera Firmware, which is discoveryofficesystems.com/firmware. Brings up this screen. You pick the firmware you want. Let's say 500 CI, firmware 11.0. I click it, and it says starting download. What that's going to do is going to download that zip file to your SD card into a folder called download. So you can actually download several of those onto your card. Your card on your phone is a 8 GB SD card, so it holds quite a few. It'll probably hold all of these actually. So now once you have that downloaded to that card, now you can unzip it. The quicker way to download that actually, some of those are over 100 megabytes, so it might take a while if you're using the cell service and the web browser to download those. You can use your laptop, connect your phone using your USB cable, and then browse to that website on your laptop, discoveryofficesystems.com/firmware, and save those files to the download folder of the phone. And that way it'll go a lot quicker. And I would download a lot of them, which I have. So once they're downloaded to the phone, now you need to extract them to the root directory of the SD card. So you go to the icon that says AndroZip, click that. It's going to bring up the root directory of the SD card. And you can see at the very top it says SD card right there. That shows you that you're at the root directory. There's a folder called Download. This brings up all your downloads, either that you did from your phone browser or you copied them to the SD card from your laptop. I did them from the laptop because it's 100 times quicker. And once they're here for good. So you don't have to delete them unless you get a new version of firmware. So let's say I need the 500 CI firmware. I'm going to click that. Oops. I'm going to cancel. I just hit it. I was fat fingering it. I'm going to hit 500 CI series firmware. Gives you a couple options. Extract file here or extract to ... If I extract file here, that's going to unzip that file into that download folder. We can't do that because we need it at the root directory. So I'm going to extract to ... Then I'm going to have to back up one level, or just hit the home button, and now I'm at the root directory, and you can always tell that because it's the screen that shows the download folder, and then I hit extract to here. Now that's going to unzip that file, and this only takes about a minute, or actually not even that, probably about 20 seconds. So all you see now are the folders in the root drive. As soon as this is done, you're going to see all those files at the end of those folders there, and it's going to be all your typical firmware files. Well, from this point, it's super simple. You just take your phone over to your copier, turn the copier off, plug your USB cable into your phone and the other end into the copier, turn the copier on. It recognizes the phone as a mass storage device and sees the root directory, sees all those firmware files, and starts updating the firmware. It does it that easy and that simple. So it basically looks like a thumb drive to the copier. But you were able to download that firmware from your phone in the customer's office without having to break out the laptop. I did them all in advance because once you download them to that folder, you could just keep them there and then just use them as you need them. Also, I use the 500CI firmware the most, so I always have that on my root directory. A little housekeeping tip though, you want to keep that root directory clean because I have the 500CI on here right now. Let's say I need to update a 420i copier. I want to delete all those folders or all those files before I unzip that 420i firmware. So I'm going to hit the green checkbox, multiple delete, and then I'm going to checkbox all these files. Oops, make sure you don't check any of the folders. I'm going to go down and check all these files, and there's usually like 20 or 30 files in a firmware, so it does take a few seconds, but it's not really that big a deal. Just make sure there's a green checkbox by every single one of these files, and then all you're going to be left with are those folders that were there originally. And let's see the last screen here. Blink. Okay, so we got them all. So they're all checked green, and I made sure I didn't check any of those folders. I'm going to hit delete. Are you sure? Yes. Bam, they're gone. Now I can go into download. I could choose the 420i, extract to, and then I'm going to back up one layer to the root and hit extract here. And bam, now it's going to extract the 420i files to the root directory, and I can just go and update a 420i firmware. That simple. So it's really, really cool. You can do it directly from your Droid phone. No more fumbling for a thumb drive. No more having to break out the laptop and not having an internet connection. They're all going to be at your fingertips anytime you need them. One other thing I'm going to show you that's kind of important to know is if you notice, well, I'm going to let this finish real quick. If I hit this blue arrow back one more time, it says you're leaving the SD card and you're going to the operating system. Unfortunately, the AndroZip app allows you to do this, which is kind of dangerous because if you start messing with any of these folders or files, this is the operating system for the phone itself. This can destroy the phone, so really got to be careful. And notice that at the very top there's only a little dot. I'm going to hit that home button. Bam, that's going to get me back to the SD card. We just really got to make sure that we stay in the SD card only. We do not want to mess with the phone files. Another note, some of you may be a little worried that, what if I get a phone call while I'm updating a firmware? Well, Todd and I tested that out, and sure enough, it has no effect on the firmware update process. We were in the middle of a firmware update. Todd called my phone. I talked to him on the phone, back and forth conversation for about a minute, hung up the call, and the firmware stayed going through the process without missing a beat. So it didn't affect the firmware being updated, even getting a call on the phone while it was doing it. So anyway, hope this saves some time for everybody, and you can update firmware from the phone without having any USB or internet connection on your laptop, and it saves some time in the field for everyone.